Press the microphone icon.
It's not on here. I'll get my full screen on, you prick.
Shut.
Shambles.
Yeah.
It's not on here. I'll get my full screen on, you prick. What the fuck?
Shut.
Shambles.
What's going on?
I must have this run on.
Are you not playing the fucking thing?
What? You said I'll tell you when we go live.
You've been live for the past like 2 minutes.
Why didn't you fucking say we were live then?
I said it in the fucking chat.
I thought you were going to say, all right, go. I haven't even got the chat open.
Fuck's sake.
Right, this is entirely Alex's. Okay, here we go.
Can you hear me? Good. Now, strap yourself in and get ready for the next big pod. Your source for all the latest news from the world of boxing. From York Hall and the Echo Arena to Manderson Square Garden and the bright lights of Las Vegas. We bring you the best and worst the sweet science has to offer. We've assembled a panel of experts from across the British Isles, as well as a star-studded roster of celebrity guests. So sit back, open a large packet of crisps, and enjoy a tasty slice of boxing chat, courtesy of the next big pod.
Okay, everyone. Hello and welcome properly to the 11th edition of the Next Big Pod, our second live venture. I'm currently joined by Alex Morris and Brian King, and we should have Cal Stones on a bit later, so we'll announce him once he comes. I think Brian's got his video up again. You all right, Brian?
Boom.
And Alex is hiding behind an image. Like the coward he is. Okay, so we'll
The face
start
of the company.
the face, yeah. You're Heyman, mate. The Heyman of the pod world. Okay, everyone. Right. Whoever's doing that, turn it off. Okay, we'll start off with last night's fight, because it turned out to be a bit more, I don't want to say entertaining, maybe the wrong word, but it turned out to be a bit more, I don't know, engaging than we expected. Lee Selby took a unanimous decision over Fernando Montiel in a bit of a joke of a physical mismatch, at least, even if Selby did look a bit sloppy. I think I had it 8-4 to Selby, possibly 9-3. I saw quite a few 7-5 cards, and even a couple that had it a draw. I couldn't see a draw at all, but I think it's safe to say that Selby was he underperformed. Alex, did you stay up for it, mate?
No, I was going to, but then I thought, well, they both seem like absolute mismatches, and Selby, at the best of times, he's not always in the most exciting fights, and I'm sick of it. I haven't even watched the Devon Alexander fight, so you can skip me on that. As for Lee Selby, maybe I should have stayed up because it did sound, well, I have watched it now, obviously, and it was more competitive than we initially thought, but I think in a almost wrong way, because it seemed that Lee was just made to look really disappointing, and I'm quite a big fan of Lee Selby's, but he was, I was left very disappointed with that performance, because I feel that you got the size advantage and everything like that, but I also expect more from Selby in the fact that he's a very good technical boxer. He's a very smart boxer, and at least that's what I think of him. And at times he was just confounded by what the veteran, as he's worded now, Montiel was doing. I mean, Montiel was just on the back foot, waiting to catch those jabs, parry those jabs that coming from Selby, who to his credit did have a decent work rate. But Montiel was blocking a lot of them, using decent head movement, and then just winging in the counters, and he made Selby look very stupid at times. And I think for a US debut, that's really not good for his image. especially Montiel. Montiel, we all pretty much said the size difference is disgusting, and he might get hurt. But like we said, it was the opposite in the end. And a few people stupidly, I think, scored it a draw, or maybe even to Montiel, but I didn't score it specifically. But I had Selby winning purely on just work rate. He did dictate the pace. He did have Montiel on the back foot, even if that's what Montiel, the best plan for him probably was that. I mean, like I said, he was forcing Lee to come forward. He was forcing him to give up that range advantage, and Montiel just took counters from him, landed the counters all night, and it was almost embarrassing in a way. And maybe that's a bit too harsh on Selby. Maybe it was just first US night nerves or something. But
yeah, do you think maybe I don't know if we're a bit guilty of underrating Montiel, because I thought he showed up. He was obviously in good condition, albeit physically disadvantaged, and he showed up to fight and clearly had a game plan that was, a bit crude at times, but he stuck to it and he knew what he wanted to do.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Selby underrated him too. Maybe he didn't expect that sort of performance and that sort of attitude, I think. But what it sort of showed me was maybe perhaps Selby isn't very good at thinking quickly on his feet. Maybe his ring IQ isn't the best, and with guys like Lomachenko and Nicholas Walters and Gary Russell in this division, you can't really do that against those guys. They're going to have several game plans and several very tricky styles to deal with. And if Montiel's bringing something that seemed difficult to him, then he's certainly going to have to not have this attitude of fighting to a certain level or underrating guys.
Yeah, I do think possibly him and his corner were guilty of kind of maybe an insular way of looking at the fight, basically saying, look, if you just do what you do, you can't lose.
Yeah.
Which is always a bit of a dangerous. I mean, I can't say I blame them in this instance, but it's always a bit of a dangerous way to look at it. Brian, did you stay up for it, mate, or did you watch it today? Or what did you think?
I'm not staying up for that fight, if you're fucking nut. And I just watched that about an hour ago. I actually quite enjoyed it. But to see the comments for people all day, saying that Selby didn't look good, it was a shite fight, and I'm a hater at the most of times. I'm a hater at the most of the best of times with regards to PVC and stuff like that, but I think maybe people were just kind of hating on it for the sake of hating. I thought it was quite a good fight. I do think the fight was a bit close. I had it 7-5. I maybe gave one of the rounds to Montiel just because it was more accurate in one of the rounds. Selby did miss quite often.
Yeah, but Selby also landed about twice as many punches over the course of the fight. I think
basically the fight was won in the first 4 rounds, because I gave Selby the first 4 rounds, but after that it was really, really competitive. And Montiel, his left hook was working, so he used that quite often, but sometimes when he would kind of feint and swing the overhand right, that was quite a decent punch as well. But I was, with regards to Selby, I was quite surprised how bad he done when he was on the back foot, when he was fighting backwards. I thought that was his best attribute. He's not much a come forward fighter. He wants people to come at him, but when Montiel was pushing him backwards, that's when he fucking looked terrible. He didn't know how he handled that. The pressure as well.
I got the impression watching it that he couldn't kind of make up his mind about what distance he wanted to stay at, because
I wrote that down.
Montiel would constantly leap into him, wouldn't he? And if you saw the size difference, it reminded me of, do you remember the Salido-Garcia fight when he came in with his head and just cracked his nose? No. Every single time, and it wasn't, I'm not saying Montiel was being dirty or whatever, but his forehead was the height of Lee Selby's nose. So when he was coming in, he didn't even need to duck down, and he cracked Selby a couple of times in the face, and I think he was a bit uncomfortable with it, and he wasn't sure. He never really tied him up. He didn't seem to know what to do. It was almost like he's so used to fighting guys who were.
What I noticed was that.
Yeah.
See with Montiel, he didn't really have a lot of ring movement. It's not as if he was moving or take it away from him. He basically just sees Selby just took that extra step, just to kind of get in there a bit closer and just throw the jab. He would have connected constantly with that, but he didn't do that. He was just out of range constantly, and all he needed to do was take that one extra step. It's not as if Montiel was kind of like moving laterally to get away, then he'd be able to connect with a punch. It wasn't that sort of fight. Montiel was just right in front of him, and he still couldn't deal with it. But I liked it. Sometimes I feel as if like Selby only does like enough to try and win a fight, but I think Montiel made him work for it. And I say Selby would have blew him out because of the size of it, but I was surprised with Montiel. I mean, Nigel at 36 being a bit of a midget, and he still put that sort of performance in. I don't know if we can kind of take that the way like kind of Frampton went over to America and he didn't perform great. I mean, that was also a decent fight, but that was merely David the point again that it was competitive where we didn't expect it to be competitive.
I was going to come on to that and say who had the worst performance actually, Frampton or Selby? Who do you reckon?
See if you take out the first couple of rounds with Frampton, he boxed well. He kind of he changed up what he was doing. Like Frampton's a bit of a counter puncher as well. He likes people to come at him as well, and that boy wasn't doing that. And eventually had to kind of change the rhythm of the fight, and he took over the fight. But it was competitive. But I would say like Frampton had an easier fight, but I like the Selby fight. I like Selby. I do. But when he wants to, when he's made to fight, his fights are more entertaining. See when like he's up against somebody that he thinks it shouldn't be in the ring, that's when he kind of fucking stinks the joint out and it's as boring as fuck.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Montiel definitely brought it to him, didn't he? And
I was impressed with him. I really thought he was shot.
Well, no, I think he was surprised how much success he had in the first round. After about 30 seconds, he shrugged his shoulders at Selby and like waved him on as if to say like, you know, I can't do anything from there. Like, you've got to come here if we want to fight. And then, you know, he threw a few counters, landed the left hook a couple of times, and then he seemed to kind of realise, okay, wait a minute, I can actually hit this guy. I think he was surprised how easy Selby was to hit. And again, maybe it's a case of everyone underrating him and kind of. I'm sure nerves must have played a part. What do you think, Alex? Do you think it was just kind of an off night for Selby, or has he been exposed?
I don't think he's been exposed. I mean, I did have those worries that perhaps maybe that he couldn't adapt to certain things, you know, that was going wrong in the fight. I mean, he shouldn't have been that close, really. I mean, for all Montiel, the performance he had, you know, was very good and very clever. He knew what he was doing. It's just I expected Lee to adapt better. I still expected him to, you know, knock him out as it were. Maybe I just had too high expectations going in. I mean, Montiel's chin is pretty good. I mean, despite the size difference, he still does have a decent chin. The other guy that's really obviously destroyed him was Donaire. No, I don't know. Maybe it was those first night nerves. I mean, I was talking to the Asylum guys earlier about it, like, you know, the US debuts and things like that, and just trying to think how many really good first US debuts British guys have had. I mean,
who's gone over there and blown them away on the first?
McDonnell is about the only one I can really think of.
I mean, James DeGale scraped the win. Kelbert.
Yeah, DeGale was close.
Ricky had both of them losing their fight, so I can't really turn around and say it was a great performance when I had.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Hatton Colazzo. Hatton was pretty bad that night.
Calzaghe.
Hopkins or Jones? I forget which one was first.
Calzaghe, Hopkins. Yeah, that was again close.
And again, you know, it was a pretty good performance, but he didn't like blow people away.
Amir Khan.
Hamed and Kevin Kelly. That was you know, back and forth.
He got chins early.
Who was Khan's?
Paulie, wasn't it?
Paulie. That's a pretty good performance, but you know, maybe Khan.
You did make a good point, no? That
Froch Taylor.
Taylor.
He was losing that.
Got absolutely schooled, and then Taylor took a dive. Yeah.
I don't know. It's like maybe we kind of need to wait for them to. I think maybe
Burns Figueroa. Sorry, was that Burns' debut? Sorry, Brian.
Hi, and it was, and he won, and he got robbed.
And he got absolutely smashed. Sorry, mate. Go on. What were you saying?
No, I'm just saying, like, maybe we need to kind of wait until we see like their second performance in America, because I know everybody says like DeGale and Brooks' performance was great, but I just think it's because like, a lot of people weren't expecting them to get the decision, and they got the decision. I mean, I thought the Brook performance was fucking horrendous. I was like, all he done was held all night, and he doesn't fight like that. And maybe they'll turn around and say that was a tactic. Well, the tactic won on the scorecards, but it was still a fucking shite fight and not a good performance. DeGale
neutralised Porter pretty much, and Porter was on an absolute tear at the time, wasn't
he? DeGale, I don't.
He was on steroids. We can go into that later if you want.
I had DeGale losing that quite handedly, but it was a competitive fight. But I thought after maybe like 4 rounds, after like he'd had a couple of knockdowns and he'd won 1 or 2 of the rounds, that he went on his bike. Like see if you watch that fight, he used the full ring. Like he done like a bit like Lara, where he's basically his back would be touching the ropes all the time, not even trying to make a fight. Darrell was having to follow him around the ring. But again, he got the decision where a lot of people didn't think he got it, so that's why people think it's a.
I thought the knockdowns were the difference in that fight. I think I had it 6-all in rounds, but then the knockdowns. I think without the knockdowns, DeGale would have fought a different fight. Maybe he wouldn't have won, but I don't think he would have been quite as passive. I know what you mean. Like we were saying before, weren't we? We could quite easily live in a world where Brook lost to Porter, DeGale lost to Darrell, and McDonald lost to Kameda twice. They're all perfectly. They wouldn't be robberies at all.
But that kind of backs up what you were kind of going to say then. That McDonald's second performance in America was a lot better. So maybe maybe they do need to acclimatise to going to another country.
Yeah.
That was the same opponent though, wasn't it? So...
Well, true, but you'd have thought maybe Kameda would have got better as well. There was only one person that made a bit of a difference in that fight.
Yeah, I thought Kameda was worse the second time. I think he pretty much gave up about 2/3 of the way through the second fight.
He probably doesn't care, man. He's like fucking living in Mexico, sucking the titties right off a wee tidy, so he probably doesn't care.
Yeah, that's what all rich people do.
Well, saying that, so's McDonald, so what's his excuse?
I don't think... would Kameda last 5 minutes on the streets of Doncaster? I don't know.
If he had a twin brother backing him up, probably.
Big twinny Gav. The best Twitter handle.
20 hello.
Cara Stones has joined the video call. Hi, Cal. Oh, he's got the video on. Turn the video off.
His hair up as well. Look at his hair. It looks lovely, Cal.
He looks like that guy who played Spider-Man.
I would love to fucking
Toby
taste
Maguire.
Andrew Garfield.
Garfield, that's the one, yeah.
Well, you think that's Brian a fucking fat blind jock?
Starting already, look at him.
I think he's in the pub. I actually think he might be in the pub. Cal, are you in the pub?
Nah, back.
They threw you out. All right. So we were just talking about Selby, and now we'll go on to Devon. Who actually saw that fight, Alex? I know you didn't, but has anyone seen the Devon Martinez fight? No.
That's your answer.
It's easier
I was watching it.
Say no rather than just being silent. Have you seen it?
I was watching it. It was fucking terrible. I only got through like 3 or 4 rounds in. It was fucking garbage, man. He has shot to fucking. I seen somebody asking. I seen somebody ask the question earlier on. Does this kind of taint like Can's win? Because we were all fucking high on it. Because Can that night he was in fantastic shape. That's the best shape I've ever seen Can in my life. But since he's went 1-3 in his last 4, and I'm pretty sure like the fucking one that he did win was pretty close against a bum that I can't remember.
No. It's not. Well, he lost to Porter. Then he won every round against. Then he won every round against Soto Carras. I thought that was. I actually thought he performed really well in that fight. And Soto Carras, you know, he's a gatekeeper, but he's not terrible. If you win every round against him, you're doing.
Who's the Japanese boy that he fought? It wasn't Soto Carras.
No, that was Guerrero. That was Guerrero. You're thinking of Guerrero.
Oh, sorry, man. But anyway, that was it. Devon Alexander stood in the middle of the ring and went toe-to-toe with somebody who should have been boxing. I just showed you how much of a busted flush that he was then. If he had to just stand in the middle of the ring with Soto Carras just going fucking toe-to-toe.
It's quite... Yeah, but that's... No, honestly, I think you might be thinking of a different fight because he schooled Soto Carras. It was actually a really good performance. And then, you know, a lot of people thought he had a chance against Khan. It was one of the few fights I've got absolutely right. I predicted Khan would win every round just because Devon had nothing for him at all. It was just a styles thing. I don't think it discredits Khan's win. I think Khan will always look like that against certain fighters, and you know Devon's. Well, he's not he's got a bit of a punch, but he's not a puncher. Alex, the fight last night was a funny one. It was only a 10-rounder, and obviously Devon hasn't fought in 10 months, 11 months since Khan. So he sort of looked to box and then kind of fall in and hold Martinez in the first few rounds. But he seemed to completely tire after 4 or 5 rounds, and then he stopped being able to clinch, and Martinez was able to kind of rip his arms out and then keep smacking him. And Devon just looked completely out of ideas and exhausted. And in like the 7th round, I think it was, his corner was saying, they cut to him in the corner, and his trainer was saying, if you want me to stop it, I'll stop it. So to me, that's the sort of conversation you have if there might be an injury, or if the guy's just he realizes he's got absolutely nothing in the tank. And in the end, the cards were, I had it 6-4 Martinez, thought it was quite a close fight. I think in the end the cards were 7-3. I don't know what that is in a 10-rounder. I don't know what the maths is, but they gave Martinez 7. I think one card had it a draw. But Martinez, deservedly won. I thought he beat Guerrero as well. He's having quite a good little year. I made a joke after the fight that you'll see Devon Alexander versus Danny Garcia announced for January or February now. That wouldn't surprise me at all. I agree with you, Brian.
Somebody says Devon Alexander v Berto.
Well, that would actually kind of make sense, because that's like a proper crossroads fight, isn't it? That's a loser leaves town match. But I can see
Garcia. I actually quite like that, but I can see fucking Berto killing him.
Garcia will pick Devon off, I think. It'll be another really soft fight. Or maybe someone like Errol Spence. Do you know what I mean? But yeah,
feed him with fucking Spence.
Yeah, feed him to someone, but feed him to someone who deserves it. Do you know what I mean? Like, Garcia doesn't deserve it. He needs to have a he's already had Paulie and Salka. So I think Danny Garcia needs a real fight, not another convenient opponent. Cal, did you watch it, mate?
I've caught up a few bits of it. I haven't watched the whole thing yet. I watched the Selby fight, but I reckon what'll happen is Kell Brook's going to go to Big Al Heyman, and he'll be fighting Martinez. First defence with Big Al. So that's the fight, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's a really funny one. I don't know if any of you guys have seen the Martinez Josecito fight from about 18 months ago, I think. But it was on Friday Night Fights. Early 2014, and Martinez basically quit after 5 rounds. He just turned his back in the corner, and then he didn't fight for about a year. And everyone thought, bloody hell, they're giving Guerrero $1 million to fight this guy. And he put up a really good performance, arguably won it. And now he's done a number on Devon. And I think it reminds me of when there was a movement in 2013 for Soto Karass to be Fighter of the Year, because if he'd beaten Thurman, he would have had wins over Ideen, Berto, and Thurman in one calendar year. And I genuinely think he should have been Fighter of the Year. Obviously, he didn't beat Thurman, but when he wobbled him in the first round, I was on the edge of my seat thinking, we're going to get Soto Karass Fighter of the Year.
Very fine, though, with them, like, the B-level guys around 140, 147, they can all kind of beat each other. They're not good enough to win, like, more than 2 in a row, but they can all turn up for that one good fight.
Yeah,
I thought Lopez were good against Berto for the first fucking 5 rounds or 4 rounds till he got hit. He was absolutely fucking schooling Berto.
It's a really funny fight, that one, because I remember thinking the stoppage. Al Bernstein's like famously he doesn't like to criticize referees and stuff. He's always pretty neutral. He was furious after that fight, like I've never seen him. He said it was one of the worst stoppages he'd ever seen. And it reeked of a fix, basically. As soon as Josecito got in a tiny bit of trouble, they just stopped it. I didn't think it was that bad, but Al Bernstein was genuinely furious after that fight. But yeah, it's a funny one. Maybe you'll get Martinez Josecito too, I guess. It might make sense. But yeah, Alex, I'm not sure if I'd recommend watching it, but
I wouldn't watch it anyway. So
no, I mean, I don't know why you hate Devon that much. He's not the most boring fighter in the world, I don't think.
He's not one of them.
I think there's a lot worse to watch
than him. There are a lot worse, and I don't watch them either.
Because you're a casual. We've been over. Kel, sorry, just quickly, mate. How did you score the Selby fight? Just before we move on.
Well, I quite like the little fella, so I give him 5 rounds. But I could see anywhere from 3 to 5 rounds for him, but I couldn't see any more than that.
So you had a 7-5. Okay, same as Brian.
I had a 7-5, but I was 1 or 2 of the close ones I'd just give to him because he hit him with the better shots in the rounds. But probably on work rate and stuff, he probably shouldn't have got them. But
I can remember thinking the same thing. I was like, is he doing that well, or am I just so surprised that I'm giving him these rounds? Like,
but 11 and the share of 1's a bit of a joke.
Yeah, I think a draw is way off for that fight. I think Selby definitely won, but yes, 7-5's not outrageous. 8-4, 9-3, those cards are okay. I don't think you can have a shutout I think one judge gave Montiel 1 round, which is a bit of a stinker.
But it's kind of like with anything, like when Mayweather fights someone, just because they get some. I'm not saying Selby's like Mayweather. I'm just saying when someone's such a betting favourite, and then they come in and have a bit of trouble in a round, you kind of feel yourself giving them the round, even though maybe if you watch it completely objectively, then they shouldn't have got the round.
There's a name for it. It's like a type of fallacy. It's the same as if a guy loses 6 rounds in a row, 5 rounds in a row, whatever, and then he does slightly better in the 7th.
Yeah.
You almost always give them the 7th, even if they still lost it. Do you know what I mean? Just because they've done slightly better, and that's like it's something to do with the brain, and it's like a logic thing.
Well, I thought that was the Peter Quillen fight was a bit like that, because I've watched the Peter Quillen Andy Lee fight back, and I'm still stunned how he managed to get a draw in America with that one.
Yeah, I thought Quillen won that as well. Yeah, same.
I had that one round there difference. I'm pretty sure I had that on 1-1-3, 1-1-2.
Yeah, it was close, but I mean, like you're a bit shocked when he's been knocked down. He hasn't won any of the first 5 rounds, knocked down twice, and he managed just to come away with a draw.
Yeah, I couldn't see a draw at all. I thought there was only one winner in them. Yeah, in that fight. Again, I think, to be honest, the British fighters and Irish, obviously, they've had a pretty good rub of it in the last 18 months in America.
Well, I don't think the Heyman cards have been that bad for scoring at all, really. I know a couple of the heavyweights have been a bit dodgy, like where they've given the home guy the win. But
none of the fights have been robberies, have they, really? And whatever Brian says, Figueroa versus Burns, while the refereeing was bad, the cards were not abysmal considering the refereeing. Considering that they had the stupid point deductions and all this stuff. The judges have to deduct points. They don't have a choice. But we'll leave that one for another day. Right, guys, just before we get onto the fun stuff, I wanted to talk very briefly about something that's come out of the New York State Athletic Commission in the last few days, to do with the Mike Perez Abdusalamov fight from, bloody hell, it's 2 years ago now, November 2013 that was. Doesn't seem that long. Basically, there's a recent deposition involving a former employee of the Athletic Commission who has admitted that he took the hand wraps of Abdusalamov and Gennady Golovkin, who fought Stevens on that card. He took their hand wraps and he sold them after the fight, like auctioned them off. For the proceeds went to a charity he runs, which is for kind of boxers who have financial difficulties after they retire. That in itself, to me, doesn't sound like the worst crime in the world. But basically, the commission kind of hung this guy out to dry now and said that he kind of abdicated his professional responsibilities and was basically acting like a fan.
Right.
And because he was so concerned with getting these wraps and all this stuff, he kind of rushed through the medical process and didn't fully examine Abdusalamov and that sort of thing. So they fired him, and I think the commission are now suing him because he's made claims that doctors didn't do their job properly. But it brought up a couple of really interesting points, which was one, that this guy was paid $52 for the night's work. So that's a guy who was the inspector in Abdusalamov's dressing room. He got $50, which just goes to show, how the bottom end really does fall out on boxing cards. And I've heard of, referees only getting, a couple of £100 or whatever, when the managers and the promoters and that are creaming millions off the top.
So he gets £30, and and now they're claiming that he's.
He gets £30 and pretty much all the blame.
And what's the word they said? He's something his responsibility.
They said he. Let me find the quote. They basically said he acted as a fan rather than as a professional, and he acted without integrity. This is the quote. He compromised his role by the fact that he became to some degree a fan with an ulterior motive having nothing to do with safety. So the ulterior motive is to get the wraps to sell them, which is, it seems like a red herring to me. But I thought one of the really interesting things was that this guy, who isn't a doctor, he was kind of tasked with making sure, almost like an escort, I suppose, for the fighter, and then he would call the doctors in and get them to inspect him.
Yeah.
He's come out and said after the fight, and we all know, I don't know if you guys have read it, but like the horrible story, I think it was in the New York Times actually, about Abdusalamov sitting on the pavement waiting for a cab to come and take him to the hospital and like throwing up and pissing blood and all this stuff. And people just basically left him. They literally left him sitting on the pavement waiting for a cab.
But you'd have to be a fucking idiot to. I watched that fight and I watched it back. Like I didn't even know about him getting injured when I watched it back because I love them heavyweight fights when they're just like brutal. And Perez must have hit him clean about 150 times in that fight, literally. Like you don't need to be
he broke his cheekbone in the first round.
You don't need to be a brain surgeon to know that he's going to have some fucking medical issues after that. Like,
I think the issue with that was that the damage came very early, and then it was just kind of the beat. But because it was early, you don't necessarily want to. You want to give him the benefit of the doubt, let him fight.
Oh, I'm not saying stop. It was one of them annoying fights for the fighter where it takes years off your career because you're never in enough trouble for the referee to save you, but you're in trouble for the whole 12 rounds. Like, it's just it was just, but he was throwing back and he was hitting him back, so you can't stop it. But it was just one of them sad ones where his chin was too good, unfortunately.
And he was another guy where, because he had a bit of power, the corner was sort of, you always want to give him the benefit of the doubt and say, oh, give him another round because he might land on the guy, which is, in some ways the worst thing you can do. But I just wanted to finish on, I know it's a bit boring, I just thought it was an interesting thing to raise, because I think it's kind of been swept under the carpet, and I know HBO, for example, have only given about $100,000 towards his medical care, which, although that's quite a lot of money, when you think about how much they make from boxing, and how much Kellerman and Jim Lampley and all that lot, how much they get paid. You're talking millions a year, and they can only manage like a month of Jim Lampley's wages towards this guy who's was in a coma for months.
And also, like in America, if you break your fucking wrist, it costs you $9,000. So I don't think $100,000 goes that far in medical bills in America.
His bills in 2 years have been over $2 million, and they basically said he'll need medical care for the rest of his life, and he's like, he can't fly home or anything. He's living in upstate New York somewhere. But I thought the final point on it was that this guy who's called Farrago, the guy who's being blamed for failing Abdusalamov and not looking after his safety, he basically claimed that the doctors left the room. Then he noticed there was blood in the urine sample he'd given.
Right.
So he then went out and says he then went to look for the doctors and asked them to come back and examine him again. He couldn't find the doctors, so all he could think of to do was direct them to the fire exit and say, go outside and hail a cab and go to the doctor. And go to the hospital. The doctor's initial advice had been to once he flew back to Florida, go to the doctors in a couple of days. And obviously, it was nowhere near adequate, the check they gave him, and they were out apparently watching the main event.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
At the time when he was, blacking out on the pavement.
That's one good thing, I suppose, you've got with the British board being overcautious. Like, I assume you get stories that they do actually look after him quite well when they leave the ring and stuff in Britain. So that's one.
I think we're much better. I know one of the big things in Britain is having the paramedics
on ringside,
right by the ring and stuff. And wasn't that, which fight was it that came up at? I think it was Ben Watson.
Yeah.
And there were no paramedics inside the arena that night because that wasn't a law at the time, and it took like 20 minutes to get someone in or something, and it was just he's just lying there the entire time. And now they've changed it, and I think that's something that in the States is because they don't have one body across the whole country. it's so inconsistent. And even somewhere, it's scary to think that even somewhere like New York, where you think they're used to putting on big fights with a lot of security and, you know, organising these huge events, even they can't, you know, they couldn't even get this guy an ambulance to the hospital. It's horrible.
See, this is one of the reasons why I'm hoping that Heyman basically succeeds. I mean, like, I've already spoke to you with regards to. I think like the idea of having like just one person running boxing is a good idea, because I particularly don't give a fuck about people getting paid, what they're earning, and how good PPC are paying their fighters. I don't really give a fuck about that. All I want to do is see the best for the best, and that's what you get with the UFC. But also see with the safety with the fighters. See if there's only one person that can really be accountable, where he is employing all these people, then it can't be anything other than a good thing. See the fact that boxing in America has got so many commissions, and there's somebody that nearly died there, and there's nobody being held accountable for it. I can't remember the guy's name, but it was like I think somebody died in the ring. I don't know if it was a professional boxer or not in America. I read the story not so long ago, and nobody's been held accountable for it, because they're all saying that they've done everything by the book. But there's a video that shows you that the referee is sitting reading text messages while there's like a break between rounds, and the guy's like kind of slumping over, and he can barely stand. What you're supposed to notice is that like he was crossing his legs while walking, which meaning he's not getting his balance and all that. But nobody's held accountable for that. And like right here, like what you're saying with this, it's the exact same thing. They're trying to pass the buck here. So somebody nearly died that night. Something needs to be done with that. And if Heyman running this, then surely it can only be a good thing.
Well, maybe not Heyman, but yeah, there are some benefits to a monopoly in that sense. Yeah, you get a certain standard, wouldn't you, applied across all fights? And I agree with you. There are times when like the unprofessionalism is absolutely shocking, even for fans, you know. And boxing fans are, I don't know, they're pretty much a bunch of cowboys, I think. Like,
but this is why like the mainstream TV will never take boxing seriously, really, will they? Because there's the possibility like fights being cancelled in the last minute. What are you supposed to do with that? Fill it with who? Paul Smith, and then you've got like shite like this. I mean, that was in football. Look at the outcry when like somebody like just collapses in a football ground when it's not. It's caused by nothing. It's just one of the fucking things that happens, and the fucking outcry with that.
Yeah, but equally, I think, but you know, football's got a lot of problems of its own that boxing doesn't have. I think that it's always going to come down to
at least it's regulated.
The diagram of the people who want the money and the people who want the sport, and where it crosses over is where you get the tension. Because I think we're all worldly enough to realise that a lot of the people involved in boxing don't give two shits about the sport. They are
boxing's fucking horrible.
Yeah,
absolutely fucking horrible sport.
It is, and it shouldn't be really, because it's you know, we all love it. It's the best sport.
I mean, just for example, let's see like Watson and McClellan. Every so often they're having to have benefit dues for them just to fucking survive. They like, I don't know so much what you see. He's over in the UK and basically the National Health Service, things like that. They fucking quite a lot for boxers now, but I don't know what it's like in America. But McClellan's always having to do like things like just to be able to fucking survive, to get equipment to help him fucking live.
Yeah, but that's an American issue because of.
Yeah, I know, but that should be boxing's issue. It should be boxing that fucking funds that. He shouldn't be living there fucking totally suffering that. Boxing has got an obligation to help these people.
Yeah, but that's the problem. What is boxing?
Yeah, but did you hear? Let me just tell you. Did you hear like a year ago when Hearn were doing one of them Q&As and he said, "Yeah, fighters should put 10% of their purse into a pot, blah 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 blah."
Fighters should.
And I was just like, why don't you just put 10% of what you make per fucking show into a pot to help these boxers? Why should a fighter that's earning 200 quid on a fucking Friday night getting his head punched in at like wherever, York or fucking Warsaw, wherever else they fight, why should he put £20 in?
Because no one is making Hearn do it, and people like Hearn are never gonna.
But he tried to pass it off as like
unless they
great
have.
idea. Yeah. Obviously, it's a great idea. It's like a pension pot, isn't it? Like
exactly.
Every other place has to do it. But
what should happen now? What should actually happen is that a promoter should have to set aside a certain percentage of the profits they make on a fighter, the revenue they make on a fighter, and during their career or their time with that promoter. So let's say Bob Arum, and let's give Terence Crawford as an example. Bob Arum signed him a few years ago. Let's say Crawford stays with him until he retires. He will end up with a pool of money that Bob Arum has, which it's like an insurance thing. If Crawford has problems on a certain list, that kind of triggers it, and he can use that money to support himself. And I don't mean like, oh, he took a load of cocaine and has run out of money, so he needs it. I mean like if he gets injured in the ring and he needs medical care, etc.
Yeah.
If he doesn't get injured and he makes it out alive and in one piece and safe, Arum gets to keep the money. So it's an incentive for Arum to match him responsibly and not abuse him. And then it's an incentive. Sorry, Alex. Say again.
I was going to say, it's a good idea in practice, obviously, but two things with that. Obviously, you're going to get cunts like Don King who just stick around in the fucking pockets and take that money whenever they want, and they'll be shit out of luck when something bad does happen because they don't expect something bad to happen.
Yeah, so they don't save it for a rainy day at all. Yeah.
And shouldn't that be the manager's job? Surely it's the manager's job ultimately to look after his fighter. I mean, that's why they've got the differential in the States between manager and promoter, because the promoter's looking out for himself, whereas the manager's got to look out for his fighter. Surely it's the manager's job. They have the opposite
interests. Yeah, essentially. That's the whole point about Leanne.
Who's the employer? I'm sure the employer is the promoter. And it's like, who do you work for, Shep? Well, you don't have to say, but what kind of thing is it?
I'm a stuntman.
But do you work for a company or do you work on your own?
I work for a company.
Well, after this podcast, I'll definitely not be working for a white man anyway.
At the end of the day, if you work for a company...
So, Cal, if I broke my leg on the way to work, then I would be covered by the company.
But they put money into your pension pot, just like the employer should in boxing. So it's not fucking hard.
Yeah.
I'm going to send Eddie a tweet right now.
It's a regulation thing, isn't it?
Sorry, Alex. Sorry, mate. I've talked over you.
No, sorry. I'm just saying it's a regulation thing or a lack of regulation. There is no overarching body that deals with it. Even in British boxing, you've obviously got the Board of Control, but they're a fucking joke as it is anyway. I mean, they've improved with how they look after players in the sense that, they've always got the first responders there. But even so, I mean, they're still largely a joke, I think.
You would need some sort of... You basically need a global change in law across like every country in the world that has boxing events, because let's say England changed the laws to become much stricter about this sort of thing. The fights would move to Scotland or to Wales or to Ireland. If America put it in, if one state in America put it in, they'd move to another state, or they'd move to Mexico or to Canada or whatever. You literally need every country at the same time to implement the same rule about the responsibilities of the promoter and the kind of the welfare of the fighter. Obviously, that's never going to happen.
Exactly.
And the same thing as they had a debate on HBO the other week on the Fight Game, which I don't usually like, but this was one good debate where they were talking about Floyd and the exemption and the IV drip and all this stuff. And Jim Lampley basically said, look, there just needs to be consistency. We need to appeal to someone to instigate some sort of standard, a consistent standard across the world. And Kellerman said, yeah, boxing needs to fix itself. The problem is, who is boxing? Who are you referring to that can control this? There is no one, and that's you're never going to find someone who's going to...
And no one is taking responsibility. Hearn summed it up. Someone else has to pay the money to do it.
And it's exactly the same with this Margot case. The quote is always, someone dropped the ball. Someone let him down. Yeah. Someone made a mistake.
Someone should pay for it, not us.
Yep. And then everyone donates the least amount they can get away with. So a millionaire will donate 10 grand and then feel good about themselves, and then they'll forget about it.
Don King done that.
Yeah, and I'm ashamed to say that I quite often I'd forgot. I didn't know it was 2 years ago. I was shocked when I read that news story and remembered it was 2 years ago. I saw a video of him, apparently he still can't speak, and I saw a video of him, and he looks like he weighs about as much as a welterweight now. Do you know what I mean? He's a big guy. Like, he can't eat solid food and stuff. And he was trying to catch a ball and couldn't do it. And I sort of remembered the fight, and sad to say, even fans, we tend to, a week later we're watching a different fight and we've moved on. It's just kind of human nature. But I do think we should all be forced to remember from time to time. I think it's good delve into these things, and especially with the New York Commission having a couple of huge fights in the next few weeks. You know, you've got Golovkin and then you've got Cotto Canelo, and you think if something goes wrong in one of those fights, heaven forbid, then will it just be the buck getting passed around, you know, infinitely? I don't know. Heaven, you know, imagine if someone, I don't know, David Lemieux gets put, you know, on a stretcher or whatever, and then they don't have an ambulance on standby or something horrible like that, and you just think, could it happen again, even in a big place like New York? Anyway, so that was that's the serious part of the pod.
By the way, how fucking mature did we get through that?
Yeah, we best start talking about.
I was going to say something really bad there. I just
I was going to say, mate.
Just
Brian, you brought up Gerald McClellan and tried to sort of take the moral high ground, but you were tweeting jokes.
I fucking hate.
You were tweeting jokes about the man like 24 hours ago.
I fucking hate the man. Everybody I speak to knows how fucking much I like animals and that, and he is a fucking cunt. Because what he used to do is fucking dog fighting and stuff like that. Fuck him.
Apparently he was.
Fuck Don King. Don King kissed my ass.
Apparently Don King said he was the nastiest guy he ever worked. He ever had in this day. But he said McClellan was just like a thug. He was a real, and I know it sounds mean to say it about a guy who's in a wheelchair now, but like apparently he was a really, really nasty, like mean-spirited person, just generally.
Well, the dog fights prove that. I mean, fuck me, you have to be a right horrible bastard to beat up your dogs and sort of fucking punch them in the face and get them really nasty and starve them, and then make them fight other fucking dogs until they kill each other. It's fucking mental.
Yeah, and even like, you know, we all take shots at Floyd for sort of being a bit, I don't know, I suppose a bit backward in his attitudes to certain things, or like fighters, you know, or Tyson and these guys who've committed crimes and gone to jail. But apparently McClellan was, if you were doing it on, I don't know, having a black heart, McClellan was one of the worst. He was a real. It
just seems as if you do something, if you do something to a human that it doesn't, for some reason it doesn't feel bad, but if you do something to animals who are fucking quite harmless and can't do fuck all, you just a nasty bastard. You think fucking McClellan was a jippo, wouldn't you? The way he fucking used to jump about doing shit with animals and that, you fucking bastard. Fuck you, McClellan.
It's not nice. Obviously, we don't wish ill on him, but we can't condone how he behaved when he was a fighter, because he wasn't a nice person. But anyway, right, I thought we could move on to something a little bit more lighthearted, which I don't think we've done it before on the show, which is top 10 pound for pound, because we've got a couple of guys fighting this weekend who have claims to be in the pound for pound debate. We've got one who arguably has a claim to be the best pound for pound in the world, in Roman Gonzalez, fighting on the undercard on Saturday. We've got Cotto and Canelo, who could claim to be in the conversation in a couple of weeks. So I thought we could start off with anyone's honourable mentions, and then we'll count down. So I don't know if you guys have got your lists ready. I'm proud to say I put a list together.
I'll go last because I were at the pub.
Okay.
I'm sure Rocco's on because we know how much he loves lists.
I'll put something together.
So I've got a few honourable mentions who didn't quite make it into my top 10, but were kind of in the frame. And I'll throw some names out, and you guys tell me what you think.
Oh, Shep, let's do one. Let's pick one each at the end as well, like dark horse to be in it at the end of next year.
Okay, yeah, all right.
For fuck's sake.
No, that's good. A prediction for 2016.
Fucking hell, what's up with you?
Right.
I've done so much thinking today over this fucking podcast, I can't be dealing with anymore.
Right, so
Ricky Burns making a comeback next year, Brian.
I'm worried.
Oh, fucking
back in his belly.
Into this. And also, guys, we'll have to, if we can, we'll try and aggregate our lists and come up with a next big pod top 10 based on, because I think we're going to be pretty similar in our rankings. It's just
I can guarantee
might disagree on the top.
Mine's will nowhere near yours.
One question, Shep, is Floyd out or in?
Out.
Sound.
Absolutely not.
No, he's retired, mate. Just like Marquez isn't in mine either, because he's pretty much retired.
But Marquez hasn't fought for over a year. Floyd's only fought last month.
Okay, we'll get onto the Floyd debate later. But let's start off at the back end of the list, because I think even if Floyd is on your list, he's not going to be at number 10, is he? So the guys I've got who just missed the cut, but who have the potential to maybe sneak in the future. I've got Canelo, who I think is very close to making it onto the top 10. I know that's not universally shared view. I've got Crawford, who's definitely one for the future, and is if you made a top 20, you'd have Crawford in there somewhere. I've got Lomachenko, who is definitely in the conversation, but again, you just don't have enough fights to go on at the moment. Inoue, for the same reason, definitely up there in terms of skills, but not enough of a track record. And then, Cal, to answer your question, I've got De Gale, who I think will show up on pound-for-pound lists in the next maybe couple of years. So those are my nearlies who missed out. So if anyone else has got any, let me know. Otherwise, we can start off at number 10 on everyone's list.
Well,
have you got any others who missed out, Brian? Guys who were nearly
Ward.
in there? Andre Ward nearly made the top 10.
Andre Ward is nowhere near the top 10, so he'll probably be in it next year once he starts fighting people.
He's your prospect for the future, is he?
I've got high hopes for next year, right? I really have hanging like fucking PBC is going to kind of explode. The tail end of the year come next year, and I've got like GGG's not in it. Canelo's in one of my lists, right? I've got two separate lists here. Crawford, Ward, Inoue, and I can't be asked for he's annoying me, right? But I've put Frampton in there as well. I have, because I think it's some
in the conversation, but not in the top 10.
It's not in the top 10, but no, I think like some of the fights that he could get next year, he could easily get in there. Look at.
No, that's fair.
What I'll just say, what ESPN have got 1 and 2.
Golovkin's
way up there, isn't he? Like
It's Gonzalez and Golovkin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking horrendous.
HBO had Golovkin at number 3 about 6 months ago after the Murray fight, and you're just thinking, fuck's sake, you can't beat Martin Murray and go top 3 pound for pound. That is mental. Anyway, should we start off with number 10? Alex, who's your 10?
So hold on, Sam, 2 seconds.
Oh, sorry, mate. Okay.
Alex, you know how you're into the midgets? See, Hecky Butler, how's he never anywhere near any list, considering like he's recognised as like basically the top guy? I know he fights in the
quite weak, mate. That's why.
Is it?
Yeah. The minimum weight's just not a great division generally, and he's never moved up.
Yeah. Hardly anyone ever stays there.
105 pun is fucking ridiculous. That's like just a set of fucking tits on a decent bird. 105 pun.
If Butler moved up a couple of weights, he could easily be in the conversation. He's a really good little fighter, but he needs to. I think he needs.
He's not even that short, is he? He looks like he's a fucking AIDS victim when I've seen him interviewed.
He's a big, tall, skinny fucker.
He could easily put £6 on and go up about 9 weight divisions.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a different way.
He's only 6 pound off of
He could have a Big Mac and he'd be up at lightweight. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, Brian Butler, you make a good point, but he was just outside it for me. But he's definitely, he's an elite fighter. I just think the division is a bit weak.
What about John Wayne Hibbert?
John Wayne Hibbert. Well, Dave Ryan's ducking the rubber match. Sadly, John Wayne Hibbert really wants that fight.
You mean John Wayne Bobbitt?
I'm not fucking fighting him.
I'll take my win soon.
Right. Okay. Right. So number 10, Alex. Who's your turn?
I've got Crawford.
Okay. All right. Okay. Fair enough. Brian.
What list do you want?
The list I asked for.
The pound for pound list.
Yeah.
Right, but I've got 2 pound for pound lists.
Right. That doesn't make sense.
Well, I've got one where Floyd and one where he isn't in it.
Well,
Is one of them counting up your pennies? You tight Scottish bastard.
Well, just have 11. Just have a top 11 then, and you can have Floyd.
No, but it isn't, because I've not got one. I've obviously,
Brian, look, you can't have Floyd in it because he has retired.
I can have Floyd in it.
Whether you believe him or not,
Floyd
has
has four fucking belts.
You can't have him.
He's got 4 belts and he's got the 2 fucking Lionel belts. So until he vacates all of them, he's still fucking champion.
No, it doesn't work like that. He has announced that he's retired. He's left the sport. He's told everyone that a million times.
So why is he still holding on to his belts then?
Because they haven't stripped them off him yet. That doesn't matter.
But if he retired, they would vacate them.
Aren't we having a Floyd chat?
He has been stripped of the welterweight ones.
No, he's not.
No, he has, because someone just fought for one of the belts he vacated.
No, he hasn't.
No, he has, genuinely.
No, they haven't.
Someone just fought for one of the 147 belts, I'm sure.
No, Thurman's got the regular belt and Floyd still got the WBC belt. Otherwise, Berto was his mandatory.
I might be thinking of one. Has he still got the 154? I forget. He hasn't had a mandatory for that in about 2 years, has he?
He's never had a mandatory for it.
Yeah, mandatory's fucking mundane.
Well, that's why Floyd retired. Because
right, what I'll do, I'll give you the one without Floyd in it, but then I'll tell you the one.
But mate, okay, here's the issue. If you put Floyd in, then you should also put Froch in, because I would have had Froch in my top 10. But
Froch hasn't fought in over a fucking year. But he's not fought over a year.
But he's retired.
But he's not fought over a year. Why are you being twisted?
It doesn't matter, he's retired. If you retire,
you're
out. Of course it does.
For a full year, you can fucking not fight and still be on the list.
All right, what about...
Why does it matter, though? Because your top 10 is going to be the same, but just with Floyd at the top.
What about Floyd could be the emeritus pound-for-pound king?
Floyd is number one, right? Let's just fucking deal with that. Right, in my number 10, I've got Canelo.
Okay. Yeah, I almost had Canelo in at 10. I think I would have had him 11 or 12, maybe. Okay. Cal, who's your 10, mate?
Garcia.
What, Mikey?
Nah.
What, the guy who's lost 4 times? Danny?
The guy with the best dad in boxing.
Jesus. Okay. Garcia, that's a bit of a left field one. Okay, fair enough.
How left field is it? Unbeaten, beating.
What's your number 10?
He's arguably lost 2 of his last 3 fights, Garcia, against B-level.
We're just playing. We're the referee and judge now.
Well, no, but he's really struggled against B-level.
Your ego's out of control, Shaq.
It's true.
Ricky Burns is number 1 on fucking Brian's thing, 'cause he's never lost.
You know what I've just noticed here? Like, Danny Garcia's technically kind of white, and it's just so happens that Shep started hating on him.
Danny Garcia.
Surprised.
Danny Garcia is Latino. He's from Puerto Rico.
He's the whitest Latino I've ever seen. He's fucking ghastly white.
Yeah.
He's a Latino who can't speak Spanish.
I guarantee you, if Matisse wouldn't have quit the other week, Shep would have been putting Quitter Matisse in there.
I would have Matisse in the conversation if he'd beaten Postol impressively.
Shep, who's your number 10?
After getting schooled by Garcia? Cheers.
No, that's a totally...
Cheers, Shep. Move on, number 9.
We're only having Shep in the list. Okay, fine.
Shep, who's your number 10?
My number 10 is Stevenson, and it was a toss-up between Stevenson and Canelo. I thought they were very close. But I think you still have to rate Stevenson's wins from...
Well, when Canelo beats Quito, he'll be up there.
Yeah, I think if he beats Cotto well, then maybe Canelo would switch with Stevenson.
Oh, I've totally forgot about Stevenson, to be fucking perfectly honest. It's just going to
about a black guy.
Defeat my argument.
Forgot that. You put a white Mexican ginger guy in instead of a black guy. Interesting, Brian. Not that you're
number
biased.
9.
Number 9. I've got Triple G at number 9.
Same.
Alex?
I've got Juan Francisco Estrada.
Hipster.
Could have had him more. I think his resume is very good. Some very good wins. Obviously, he won his titles from Valoria, Segura. That was a decent one, I suppose. Melindo, again, a good win for him.
Estrada's won. He's got titles in a couple of divisions, hasn't he? I think, has he jumped up a couple? Or am I imagining them?
I can't remember.
Yeah, I feel like he started slightly lower and he's done it over a couple of divisions, but I might be. But he's still young. Yeah, he's got years left. Brian, who's your number 9?
Danny Garcia.
Okay.
And my reasoning being is I had him losing to Herrera and Peterson, right? But see the fact that he's got the wins, so he's still undefeated. He vacated his Lino belt. these other two belts, moved up a division to fight Paulie. Paulie was a shite fight, right? But the fact that in the record books it still says he's not lost a fucking fight, I can't have him out the top 10 because he was in the top 10 at one point with Ring Magazine and they took him out, and I was like, how can you take people out just because your opinion is that somebody's lost a fight? But
I had him top 10 after the Matisse fight. Yeah, I had him top 10.
But you can't take him out then. But my whole argument gets blown out the water now because I've not got Stevenson in for the exact same reason.
I've taken Yamanaka out because he lost to Moreno in my eyes. He may have won that fight, but
I wouldn't have had Yamanaka in top 10 anyway.
Even if you still get the win, I think the fact that Garcia was made to look so average and poor by Peterson and Herrera, that should count against him. But it's fine. I think he's in the conversation still.
Froch was made to look bad by so many people, and he was still fucking ended up getting the top 10 somehow.
Yeah, I guess. I think Garcia needs another big win to get himself back into the top 10.
Maybe true. You know what? I would maybe like to fucking take. No, in fact, Garcia's got better wins than Stevenson. I don't care. He's got better wins than Stevenson. Fuck it.
I think I guess kind of similar. I just think Stevenson's been beating the guys he's been in with. It hasn't really been controversial.
Right, true.
Anyway, that's fine. And Cal, who was your number 9, mate?
My number 9 was Golovkin, like you, mate.
Okay. Right, Alex, you'll be pleased to know I had Estrada in at number 8, slightly ahead of Golovkin. So that's my 8.
8 is Golovkin for me. So.
Okay. We're almost on the same page.
I mean, these sort of numbers, it's almost interchangeable, I think. I mean,
I'm not.
Anyone who puts Estrada at 9 and Golovkin at 8 knows fuck all about boxing. Right?
Well,
I'm going to say that now. I'm so angry about this. Slight disappointment. Brian, who's your number 8?
Estrada.
Okay. Oh, great minds, mate. You copied mine. Well done. Must have seen
I'm actually turning into quite a bit of a fanboy of Estrada. I've been watching some of his fights, and I went and watched that Chocolatito fight again, right? And I know people had it like 8-4 and maybe even a wee bit wider. No, I had it fucking tight at 7-5, and it's just giving you an absolute fucking chubby hanging about if that fight gets made for next year.
I think even if you don't know Estrada, the fact that he fought a very close fight against Gonzalez is almost enough to put him top 10. Do you know what I mean? Just because he was on even terms with him for so long in that fight.
Just the ideal situation here would be fucking Golovkin Canelo next September with that rematch in undercard winter. That'd be fucking mega.
Yeah, Golovkin versus the winner of
then you'd obviously see
Estrada Gonzalez too. Yeah, that would be amazing. Yeah,
you'd obviously see that smarmy bastard Herm try to get out on Sky and say that he made the deal. You fucking cunt.
he'd get a cheeky 10% of the gross. Okay, so that's Cal. Who was your number 8, mate?
My number 8 was Canelo.
Okay. So we're all, we're using the same fighters, aren't we? Just mixing up.
But my list doesn't have many midgets in, I have to say, because I don't really fucking watch them. So.
No, that's fair. I mean,
mine's more of a casual list than your lot's, to be fair, but it's what I've seen. So I'm not going to put people in that I've never fucking seen just because someone's told me they're good.
Yeah, I hate people who do that. Okay,
my list is cool as fuck.
7 is a Taiwanese debutant who is an amateur. No, only joking. I've got Kovalev in at 7. Alex?
I've got Ricky Robocop at 9. Hold on, I'm just getting my list. Tim Bradley.
Okay. Yeah. Bradley, underrated. Quality wins for years and years and years. Yeah.
Again, I think he's been underrated, maybe similarly for the reasons I dropped Yamanaka, but I don't think that Timmy's lost fights necessarily. I mean, the Vargas fight was it had that dodgy ending. The Chavez fight, again, bothery. What else has he been in recently? The Manny fight, I mean, yeah, Manny looked a lot better in that, to be fair to him. And the Marquez win was obviously
Provodnikov win. Yeah, lots of stuff. But Bradley's his resume has just been top quality for about 5 or 6 years. You can't argue with it at all. And yeah, I think Bradley's got not many people talk about it, but I think he's got a really good case to be a Hall of Famer when he retires.
Oh, 100%, man.
Yeah, and I think he's so underrated and underappreciated by fans. Just because he's not a star, basically. Okay, Brian, who's yours in at 7?
Cotto.
Yeah, that's outrageous. I'm sorry.
He's a Linnell champ, my man. Linnell champ. Fucking breathe it in. The fact of the matter is, you all picked fucking Martinez to fucking smash him, and he didn't. And don't use the injury because everybody knew that he had an injury.
Every single person said, if he's healthy, Martinez will win. If he's healthy.
Oh, it's always a wee asterisk.
Everyone said it.
There was the asterisk before the fight.
You know what? See, once we come on to what we're going to talk about later on, Alex, I hope you fucking use the asterisk a couple of times enough for your fucking list.
Oh dear, I hate that fight so much.
I love it. No, in fact, I don't, because I really do like Martinez. I really do like Martinez. It was one of the fights that I didn't want a winner.
Oh, God. I'm depressed now thinking about it. Cal, who did you have at number 7, mate? Is he fucked off? Okay, we'll drag Cal back in a minute. So that's Kovalev, Bradley, and Cotto in at 7. My number 6 was Bradley. So again, me and Alex are just pretty much on the same page, I think. Alex, who was your 6?
I got Ward here. I don't want to put him too high because he's Paul Smith, but again, it's a potential factor in what we know that he can do.
Yeah. Okay. So you're saying that he's still on your radar even without having any fights, really?
Yeah, he's proven himself in the past, and we know that he's more than likely going to prove himself again in the future.
That's fair. Brian, who's your 6?
Bradley.
Okay, we're on the same page again, mate.
User base. I tell you, I hope you're writing this down because there's going to be about 3 names not in my list that are probably on yours. I'm not fucking picking certain people.
Yeah, I know. There's a couple that you're not going to have in tactically. Is Cal back yet, or has he dropped off again?
Yeah, I've got.
Sorry, Cal, just quickly, who was your 7, mate? Can you give us your 7 and 6?
Yeah, 7 was Anthony Joshua.
Nice. I had him top.
I'm just chucking one in on pure potential there.
Ricky Bums?
6, I've got Ward.
Oh, same as Alex. Okay, interesting.
Similar reason to Alex. I don't think he deserves to go straight in.
Who was your 7?
Joshua.
No, seriously, man.
We're not allowed.
That's what I've written down.
And I thought that was the stupidest thing I'd ever heard. And then you said Joshua.
Everyone in England, after they've had 3 pints, thinks Joshua's top 10 pound for pound.
Yeah, and half of them think that he might fight Pacquiao in the future. Strength against speed, it's the ultimate matchup.
As long as his shoulder gets better.
Yeah.
Are you being serious?
You almost died, mate.
No, I'm not being serious. I had Ward 7 and Bradley 6.
Okay. So we're agreed on Bradley being at 6 or 7, Ward being around 5 or 6, and then we've got Estrada, Triple G, Canelo, Stevenson. That's the kind of the group. Okay, so I'm actually quite surprised how close we are on this so far. Right, so we're going into top 5. My number 5 is Pacquiao, who I think still deserves to be right up there, and would still beat almost all of the guys at 147 and 140. Alex, who's your 5?
Exactly the same, Manny Pacquiao, for the same reason.
Okay, Brian, I'm going to think you might have a different answer.
I've got Kovalev.
Okay, oh really? Interesting.
I just think that as much as I don't think Pascal is great, because I try to discredit Froch's win, but I think he's a top 3 guy in that division. B-Hop, he had 2 belts at that point in time, so it was a proper fucking unification fight. And some people picked him. You know how my brother for another mother, what's up, Spencer Fearon? He picked him because he was a brother.
A lot of Americans picked Hopkins, and I just thought, what are they thinking, basically? I
just think the politics with him and Stevenson's just kind of blinded people about how good Kovalev's been over the last couple of years. Would anyone
pick Stevenson to beat Kovalev?
I really do like that fight. I just think it could be whoever gets the flush punch first. Because I do think that Kovalev is hiding a bit of fucking glass.
I think.
But we know Stevenson's hiding glass.
Yeah, we know that, but
On El Boone, right, guys. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
He's going for a dump. So basically, shall we talk about Kovalev Stevenson for a bit?
aye. I for some reason, I just think that Kovalev, his chin's not all that. I don't know what. Maybe it's just that kind of thing that I had at the weekend with that Thompson, where he's a big scrawny skinny bastard and he doesn't look as if he could take a punch, and it just so happens that he couldn't take a punch.
It's not that bad, surely.
No, it's not as bad as Thompson's, of course, but I do think if Stevenson connected him with that fucking hook.
Pascal was fucking landing some big uns on him, to be fair.
Aye, and he was pushing him back. That was a good fight, that. See, I forgot how good a fight that was.
And he didn't seem too... I mean, he seemed a bit rumbled by it, but obviously, they were flush punches, they were big punches, and I think that Kovalev's shown that the discipline that he can box with against Hopkins, and I think that he knows, obviously, the fucking atom bombs that Stevenson's got in his hands, so I think that he'd be a bit more cautious against it, maybe. I think he maybe not underrated Pascal, but he was happy to take a couple of punches, and maybe that was a bit to his detriment because, he could have got laid out. But
it's one of them weird fights, though, isn't it, where like one of them is pretty much better than the other one at almost everything in terms of boxing, but Stevenson's still got that one big shot, and you know that he could lay him out at any stage in the fight. It'd be a really exciting one to watch. It gets to points that I don't think Stevenson would win a round.
no.
I don't think Stevenson's the worst of boxers. He's not bad at moving. He's just kind of one-hand happy, isn't he? Like, where he'll just use the fucking one hand all the time.
He proved he was a good boxer. Who was it against? That fucking Tavoris Cloud. He boxed really well in that, I thought.
Bellew?
Yeah, Bellew shat it, so he was just chasing him down.
It's easy to fight someone, though, that's literally just come and they're just covering up. What did he say? We're trying to get him into the second half of the fight, where he'd be more tired.
Jank let Stevenson or Kovalev would tie the balls to go up to cruiserweight and fight Paul Smith.
I do actually think that Kovalev might go up eventually. I think Kovalev's got a better size to him. Stevenson's not big enough.
If you've ever seen the 2 days, HBO 2 days with Kovalev in, it was before the who was that guy? Cedric, the Agnew fight. Do you remember that about 18 months ago? And Kovalev he had to strip down completely to make the weight, and it's been touch and go whether he could make 175 a couple of times. So, yeah, I agree with you, Ko. I think he could potentially hop up another weight class. What number are we on now?
I think we were at 4, but Alex has just had to nip away for a second, so we could just carry on to.
Who was your form, mate?
You've only got games to Bradley. No.
I think I've got Kovalev in at number 4 on mine.
Okay, I've got Klitschko at 4. Brian?
Oh.
I've got Rigo at 4.
Okay, and then has Alex done his?
Oh no, that was 5. Sorry, Kovalev was 5 because I didn't do that, and then Rigo was 4. Kovalev 5, Rigo 4 for me.
You both got Rigo at 4. Okay, I've got Vlad in at 4. Again, because he's
white.
Got to respect the resume.
No, it was a tough one. I just every time I kind of cast up Rigo now to kind of defend him, people say, but he's only got really one good win, and I was like, aye, but that is a right good win. And I think Donier was top 5 at the time when he beat him, and he's kept active. He's not maybe fought the best people, but at the same time, until active, man, he's not fought about 10 months. I still need to have him in top 5, but the people that I've got ahead of him, I've legitimately got ahead of him because of the fucking resumes and how active they've been. So that is what it is.
I still think the win over Donaire is one of arguably the best win of anyone in the last 5 years in the sport. The best single win if you're ranking a single win.
It's a good win.
It's an unbelievable win. completely dominating the guy who was voted Fighter of the year before, had knocked out 4 top contenders in the division. It's the equivalent of Ward dropping down to 160 and shutting Golovkin out now. That's the equivalent, genuinely. Because Rigo's quite, he's smaller than Donaire as well. It's such a good win. Yeah, and we'll catch up when Alex is back, but I've got Rigo in at 3 for that reason. I've got him 1 ahead of Vlad.
See, that's I think as well with Rigo. I don't think people that kind of fully appreciate. He could really drop down a division. He's already. I know people kind of.
Yeah.
I know people kind of go up divisions like you've got like 3, 4, 5 weight world champions and all, but he can't do that. He has a fucking midget, and he's literally kind of stretching himself. I think if he went to 126, that would be.
He's way too small. He's way too small.
It'd be above and beyond.
Walters had come into the ring at 140 pounds.
Well, he did fight that guy last time out, didn't he? And he was about 142 £.
Yeah, and it's just not fair. It's not a fair fight when the guy is 3 divisions bigger than you. Rigo's tiny, and he hardly puts any weight on after the weigh-in. Shouldn't have to go up to 126 to get the fights.
I'm pretty sure he weighed
I'm
down.
one of them that doesn't. I don't really get the Rigo versus Lomachenko. Like hipsters are saying, like creaming over it. I was just like, well, you wouldn't be creaming if it was like a top middleweight against a top light heavyweight. You'd just think,
No, but I mean, they're kind of a division. They're a division apart, and I think Rigo said, look, if we do it at 120,
I can't hear anything what you're saying back to me, but I assume you.
Can you hear me, mate? Sorry. Is your headphones gone? Can you hear me, Brian?
I can hear you fine.
Okay. Cal, can you hear us? Tell us if you can or can't. I think the point was that it was going to be, Rigo wanted it at a catch weight because he said he wasn't big enough for 126, and then Lomachenko said, no, I'm sticking to my weight class. And they said, oh, well done to him. He wants to stay at featherweight. That's commendable. It's like, yeah, he wants to stay there when he's fighting guys from the division below. It's not commendable at all. That fight should be a catchweight 100%.
It should be, but you kind of see from Lomachenko's, if you're him and his manager, you've got like a bit of a, obviously you're going to have to cut more, then you've got a bit of a worry because you're in against a pound for pound fighter.
Yeah, so
there's a lot of big fights at his weight. There's a lot of big fights at his weight. I'm not sure if they can be made because Heyman's probably got 1 or 2 of them, but
well, he won't. I think the point is he won't. Walters wanted it at 128 with Lomachenko, and Lomachenko said, "No, you have to make featherweight, or you're not fighting me." Which I
like that.
I think that's fair. But then he also said with Rigo coming up from the division below, he said, "No, you have to come up all the way." So it's kind of double standards to me.
What he's basically saying is, I'm a featherweight, I'm not going down in weight, I'm not going up in weight. If you want to fight me, come at my fucking weight.
Yeah, but equally he's calling Rigo out. They know Rigondeaux's tiny. Lomachenko fought 130 pounds.
Yeah, but it's the same. Like Golovkin gets stick for this similar kind of thing.
No, but if let's say
like
Cal,
when people like he said, I'll fight Canelo or Cotto, obviously at 160.
Yeah.
And then Ward saying,
go down to 154 for Floyd, he said, but he wouldn't go down to 154 for anyone else. And then he said, I won't go up to 168 for Ward, but I'll go up to 168 for Froch. Yeah.
No, but that's just it's kind of obvious, isn't it, that? Because if you're at a disadvantage moving up or down, then you don't want to be...
Then you want to be in the middle. That's the whole point. Then you have to be in the middle.
You're being a wee bit disingenuous here. The only reason he says he would go up and down in weight is for like extreme reasons.
The massive fights.
Yeah, the massive payday. Ward's not a massive payday for him. He's not going to get the same sort of money as he did at the time where the fake Chavez was going to fight him. He's certainly not going to get the same money for Floyd. So basically what he was doing, he was going to go above and beyond to try and make that sort of weight for the paydays. But you're not going to kill yourself to go and fucking fight Ward. Ward doesn't even... Ward was asked when we'll meet at 164, no, but Ward's quite happy to fucking train Cloud, is it? No, Dawson down to 168, so they're all hypocrites.
And he'll try some bullshit to try and get Kovalev down if that fight ever comes.
Yeah, they'll do it at 170 or something when they have something.
But it's just ridiculous. How does Ward think he's got any pulling power? The guy's a fucking joke. embarrassed.
HBO.
He's embarrassed,
big
man.
The only thing.
Look, who's big on him is fucking that knobhead Jay-Z. No one else in the world likes him. No one's interested in watching him.
Behind Ward, I think he knows that he's one of their like leading guys.
I'd watch him in a big fight, but if he's fighting some guy, some Spanish fellow who's 10th rated in the WBA or whatever, I would never ever ever tune in to watch that cunt fight. Whereas I'd watch Golovkin against my next door neighbour. That's the difference. He's a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you mean.
See them with Rigo and Lomachenko. I do think see if Lomachenko wants that fight, like maybe gear something up, like have it at 126. But I heard that Rigo wanted a rehydration clause, and I don't think that's fucking unreasonable. We don't want you coming into the ring at some fucking mutant size. So why not? If you need to come in at 126, you can't come in. You need to come in the next day. No more than like 135 or something like that, because Rico's not going to come in. Rico's going to come in at about 124 or 125.
Yeah, because half the cunts at 126 roll in at welterweight the next day. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. And I think Lomachenko, if anyone should know it, it should be Lomachenko after he got, after Salido came in at light middleweight or whatever it was and beat the shit out of him. I think rehydration is fair, but I think, look, the whole point is catchweights are a bit annoying. They're abused quite a lot. But at the same time, a catchweight is there for when it's a huge disadvantage for one guy to go all the way up, and it's a huge disadvantage for one guy to go all the way down. I want to see the fight. I don't think it's fair to make Lomachenko go down to super bantam. That's not fair. I don't think it's fair for Rigo to go up to featherweight. Meet in the middle. It's perfect. It's 2 pounds. I think they could both do it. I don't know why it won't happen, and it won't happen because Rigo has said, look, I'm prepared to... Rigo's not saying, you have to come all the way down to me. He's saying, let's meet in the middle. Lomachenko is saying, no, the fight only happens at 126. So the one who's actually trying to, meet them halfway is Rigo, and Lomachenko's not having it. Maybe it could happen at 125, I don't know, but then is that really that much of a difference? And I can understand what he means, because I think Walters is, to all intents and purposes, a hype job, because he's been fighting guys who are 2 divisions smaller than him.
Wait, is that fucking Bellend?
Just realised I hadn't had my camera on for the last fucking half an hour. People will have been misting my face.
Yeah, we got lots of comments from girls saying, "Where's his face gone?" All the names.
Oh yeah. That's why you got me on.
Yeah, we need more women. Brian's scared.
You need Adam Smith to join this pod just to get his face on.
He's got a fucking face like a Halloween cake.
Right, we're being nice to the asylum. They can rip us off, but we're going to take the moral high ground and just be respectful.
Like, let's get these lists finished, man. This fucker's not turning up.
Oh, Alex is fucked up.
I'm here.
Right. Oh, you're here, mate. Okay.
Who's your bastard?
Who's your number 4, mate?
Number 4, fucking hell. Kovalev.
Kovalev 4. Okay. 3.
Have you just had a blowjob?
What?
You just come back there all chilled. I fucking Kovalev.
I fucking wish, mate. Number 3. Number 3.
Blowjob in a podcast. Ooh, baby.
Across the stream. Sorry, Alex, go on.
No, we're still live. Number 3.
We're not at number 3 yet, have we?
Yeah, we are now.
Got Rigo. Good. Me too. I've also got Rigo at 3. Cal and Andy.
Pac-Man.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's feasible. Brian?
Number 3, I've got Vlad.
Okay, yeah.
This is taking shape, man. You're going to be fucking so shocked, man.
To be honest, we're really not far off each other at all.
Have you lot not got Pac-Man in your top 10s?
I had him at 4. I had him at 5, mate. Me and Alex had him at 5.
Oh, did you? Thanks.
Yeah.
I thought someone had forgotten the guy.
Right. 1 and 2 is probably where it's going to get a bit controversial. I've got Warden at number 2 because I still think he's the best fighter in the world. He just hasn't had a fight recently, so I have to
put in Vlad then.
Wait, who's your number 3?
Rigo.
But that's your number 4.
Vlad.
Oh, okay.
And then Pac at 5. I'm one of the few, although there are some others, who actually had Ward at number 1 above Floyd briefly in like 2012 after he basically when he beat Froch and then when he beat Stevenson. Sorry, Dawson. I had him above.
What have you got Ward at number 2?
I've got him at 2 now. I had him at 1 at one stage, which shows how highly I rate him generally. When Floyd was fighting, like, you know, fucking hell, Guerrero and Ortiz, and Ward was beating the best, you know, schooling the best. I had him briefly above Floyd.
Shep, have you ever watched the film New Jack City?
What's happening if I say I have?
Well, basically, like Chris Rock's in it, and he's like a crackhead. And it shows you what. That's basically you right now, be having fucking Ward at number 2. That is absolutely ridiculous.
You've got Cotto at 7, mate. Cotto doesn't have a single elite win in his entire career, and you've got him in number 7. Anyway,
Sergio, who was in the top 10? Who's Paul
Sergio
Smith?
with one leg. Sergio with one leg. Anyone in the top 25 would have beaten Sergio that night. Anyone would have. Means nothing.
It wasn't anyone. It was Cotto.
Yeah, because he paid a lot of money.
Oh, Betty Raging.
Anyway, we'll have this debate another time because this will be.
Paul Smith's a big fat bastard, and that's his only win in the last 2 years. That cunts like that was fucking hanging.
Number 1, mate. So it's a great win.
He's not even. Paul Smith's that bad. He needs to get his wee bro to fight his battles for him.
He's absolutely raging that Liam won a title. He's absolutely.
Not only that.
You could tell
go and beat Rocky Fielding for me. Go and beat Rocky Fielding for me, Cal.
I genuinely believe that Paul Smith will offer to carry Liam's belt and then like accidentally drop it in some mud or something and be like, "Oh, sorry, it's got really dirty. Oops."
We don't count it anyway, so he could still be the first to win one.
Yeah,
he'll
come out of retirement. Yeah. Right, Cal, who's your number 2?
I have got Gonzalez.
Right, okay.
Who's your number 3?
Fuck's sake.
Didn't I just...
You said Pacquiao. Brian,
Pacquiao.
So who's your number 4?
Brian.
Kovalev.
And who's your number 5?
AJ.
We go back over
number 6.
Alex, who's your number 2?
Number 2 is Vladimir Klitschko.
Oh, okay. I was thinking you might have skipped Vlad off completely, and then I thought, oh no, wait, he's putting him in number 2.
I fucking love Vlad.
Yeah.
I've beaten Alex by one there.
If only we had a caller who could talk about heavyweights and tell us where our rankings of Vlad should be. I can't think of. Can you guys think of anyone?
Marius
I can't think of anyone. No one's coming to mind, so we'll just have to move on. Brian, who's your number 2?
Roman Gonzalez.
Right, I think I see where this is going. Number 1, Cal?
Vlad.
That's amazing. I was not expecting that.
The king.
I respect that too. More than what Brian's about to say. Brian, who's your number 1?
Manny Pacquiao.
Right?
I like it.
I don't understand what was funny about it. The guy was number 2 until he get beat with Floyd, who is the greatest. So I don't think losing to him to actually fucking that far down the list. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
he's got to win.
It's put him down to number 5. I think that's reasonable. We've still got him top 5. We just
Jaws, man.
take a dominant loss. You need to go down a couple of places.
His 2 wins over the last 18 months was not too bad. Algieri was no bad. He was an undefeated guy that had just beat Provodnikov, and also Tim Bradley. He get the win against him, who was also like top 3, 4 or something like that at the time.
He's got numerous wins over elite guys in the last few years.
I'm not dropping Manny just because he lost to Floyd, who is the best on the planet.
Yeah. Okay.
If you actually look at the list, there's no one that's beaten anyone in the list other than Bradley and Pacquiao. Have obviously got a win each over each other.
Well, yeah,
well, not quite, because
you lot got Estrada, haven't you?
My number 1's Gonzalez, and he's obviously got the win over Estrada, who's also top 10.
But then Pacquiao, Marquez was probably everyone's top 5 when Pacquiao beat him. So
Marquez was in my top 5 when Bradley beat him. That's the crucial thing. Marquez was very high up on my list when Bradley beat him, and that's why I really, really rate Bradley, and I won't drop him out. Plenty of people have dropped him out because he's starting to look a bit rusty. But
Bradley didn't just beat him, did he? Bradley fucking schooled him.
Well, he outboxed him. It was a close fight, but he outboxed him, which I don't think people expected him to do.
It was
I think he
close, but it
schooled
was
him.
obvious. It was close, but it was obvious. Like
It was very close. I don't think you could have scored it for Marquez, but it's a very close fight. It's like 7-5.
No, I don't fucking think it was close at all. I think Bradley fucking put a clinic on.
Right.
So who do you like then, Shep? Because you don't like black people either. Is it just Mexicans?
Where's this come from?
No, he hates the white man.
Because now you're saying Bradley didn't school him.
Now I'm being accused of hating black people and white.
Yeah.
Just a bigot all round, I think.
You sound like a Puerto Rican.
I only like UFC guys now.
Did none of you have Kell Brook in there then?
Ring Magazine have him in there.
I'm giving you my number one, right? So
Oh yeah, Alex, who's your number one? Oh, we've ruined it now by saying Brooke.
it's a special one. It's Roman Gonzalez, of course. Chocolatito.
Well, Alex and I agree on that. So we've got Vlad in at number one from Cal. I'm trying to think of
Can we actually do like top fags in boxing next week? And just, like, maybe a top 5 for who we suspect or who we know.
You could, in theory, you could do that, but you couldn't call it top fags. Right, that's the crucial thing. This is live, so you can get away with it.
Top
You rolled about your bed while talking about Kell Brook.
Yeah, we're not talking about Brooke.
This is like, yeah. I don't want to.
Is this live? I live in Sheffield. He might fucking come. He might be watching.
You fucking come round and nibble your cock.
He's watching right now with a box of Kleenex, Andy.
He's waiting for Brian close up again. Cal, you're ruining it. Okay, so I think our lists are pretty reasonable. I've jotted them all down, and I'll try and work out what the average is for a next top 10. But I think we're all agreed Canelo can potentially go reasonably high up if he beats Cotto convincingly. Brian, if Cotto loses to Canelo, does he drop out of the top 10?
And Canelo fucking jumps because Canelo's got some right decent wins over the last couple of years. And
if Tyson Fury beats Vlad, does he get in the top 10?
Yeah.
Open question to everyone.
He goes in at number
10.
He doesn't.
Does he maybe go in
the top 10? Yeah.
Okay, and then if Paul.
I was tempted. We were talking earlier about who just missed out. I think Povetkin's got a fucking shout. If you look at his resume, he's fucking beaten. Like,
you're just trying to justify your fucking number one pick.
If Povetkin smashed it, maybe you could have him top 15, maybe. I think.
What?
I'm not sure he'd get top 10.
Shut up, you mug.
Mate, he's got good wins in the division.
Oh, yeah. What colour is he? Move on.
I think I'll definitely put. Sorry,
I'll tell you what we should do in the future. We should do a like a top 10 of the 90s or something as well, because that would be a good debate. But I don't know if do you want to do Manny and Floyd now, or we could leave that for another show? Yeah,
but we'll just do that pick for who's going to be top 5 next year.
Yes. Yeah. So guys, just to keep you posted, we're going to do a Manny versus Floyd Fighter of the Decade debate next week probably. But we need to give it enough time to actually go into detail. So yeah, as Cal said, we'd have
been able to do that tonight if somebody didn't leave it in his bird have a Wayne and always having to fucking jump off the pod to go and look after him. That's what we'd be doing.
Yeah.
What are you talking? Me and Alex were on for half an hour waiting for you.
I'm part of the money team. Nobody waits for me.
You were out having a midnight run, right? Like.
Aye. When you're sleeping, I'm fucking working.
Right. So let's all do a like a wild card pick for someone who could be showing up on the list in the next 18 months or so.
I've been saying I want to do this the whole time, but I hadn't thought of one. You'd think I would have thought of one.
Brilliant.
I'm just going to tell you so that I didn't have Crawford, Golovkin, or Ward
My pick for this, because I've actually thought.
I didn't have him on my list.
Because you got fucking Garcia in there.
Yeah, I don't know how
in
you.
there.
I don't. To be fair, Alex is the only one who's got Crawford in the top 10. But
And that's at 10.
yeah, but
And who's Crawford beat? Who has Crawford really beaten?
Ricky Burns, mate.
Well, that's true.
Yeah,
Right enough. Bang. Number 3.
Gamboa's his best win, isn't it?
He did school Burns. To be fair.
He did.
He has won about 10 rounds, I'd say, in that fight. Anyway, my pick for the wild card is De Gale. I think you'll see De Gale showing up on these lists in the next year or so.
So it's not someone who's obvious, then. We're going to say someone who's a bit obscure. Like, obvious ones would be, like, Inoue and fucking...
Crawford.
Well, no, but
Crawford
Alex,
and...
if there's anyone you've got, like, a good feeling about that you think might surprise a few people, because I think De Gale's going to surprise some people.
Look, Campbell.
Yeah.
You think Luke Campbell will be on pound lists in the next year?
No, he won't do enough. That's the thing.
Yeah, he'll have 2 fights. They'll be against like.
I'll tell you mine then. The person I think will be in the top 10 next year at some point will be.
You're gonna say Floyd, aren't you, when he comes out of retirement?
Oh, well, saying that Floyd is going to come out of retirement, so.
Well, he'll be straight back in when he does.
He'll be straight back in at number 1, but.
If he wins.
But my fucking. Oh, this is so exciting!
Come on, who's your pick?
I wish that bird that this countdown was in here enough. I'd just let her sit in my face.
Rachel Harris, fit as fuck, man.
Wait for it. Wait for it. Cal Frampton.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah. I
was going to say Scott Quigg, but I thought that build-up deserved me being fucking a bit mature.
Quigg won't get the fights because everyone's ducking him. That's the shame of it. Who's yours, Cal?
I've had a think, and I'm gonna go for a Brit. I'm gonna go for a Brit, and I'm gonna say Jamie McDonnell.
Oh.
That's
a good shot.
Okay. That's left field. Yeah.
I tell you.
I worry with the Brits.
That is the point of the game.
Yeah. No, I know. I just feel like with the Brits.
I'm getting more points if McDonnell gets in there than you are for De Gale.
Yeah, I'll give you good odds on McDonnell. Yeah, that's fair. You'll get a good return if he makes it in. And Alex, have you said yours, mate? Sorry.
I suppose he's already in the list on some fucking stupid websites, but I do think Brooks probably going to actually get in there purely because he's going to fight fucking wasters and gobblers for next year, and then he'll just get in there on being the fact that he's 38 and 0.
Well, and then everyone else will end up beating each other, right? And then Brooke will be the only one who doesn't lose. Yeah.
Check Brooks just go straight for the gooch.
Let's say.
Do you think Broner's got a shot, by the way, if Broner has a couple of good 140 wins?
In the minds of Americans, maybe, but
he is the four-way world champion.
He hasn't got the opponents at 140. There aren't the opponents down there that he can actually fight. He won't fight Crawford, will he? He won't fight Matisse. He won't fight Postol. He doesn't have the opponents to make it in there.
He's fight Matisse. All he's got to do is hit him once and he'll quit.
I'll tell you this. see if Heyman somehow makes Jamie McDonnell versus Payano and Jamie McDonnell beats Payano.
McDonnell would beat Payano.
He's top 10. I don't rate Payano, right?
Payano's not very good, you're right.
But even at that, the guy's a lineal champion, and that means that he's took the soul of a few people in that division. I'd have him maybe in the top 10 because I would say if he beats Payano, he's got better wins than the likes of Crawford and that who are in the top 10. Fuck's sake, some of them have got Crawford in like top 7, top 8, and I'm like, how can you? I was like, his best wins fucking. I wouldn't even say his best wins Gamboa, because Gamboa's nobody shouldn't be even in that division. I'd say Ricky, going to Scotland and beating Ricky, taking 8 rounds off of Ricky. Fuck's sake, that is like fucking brutal.
10 rounds.
You gave Burns
8 rounds off of Ricky Burns.
Outrageous card. That's outrageous, bro.
What was I going to say?
Taking 8 rounds off of Ricky in Scotland is like taking a round off of Floyd. That's how hard that is. Fucking hard as shit.
I agree with you to an extent. Do you think this is an interesting? Actually, it's two questions, but which lead into each other. Let's say Khan knocks out Brook next summer. Does Khan get in the top 10?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe no.
Depends what else he fights.
Yeah, if he actually gets a good win.
Yeah, but like you've got to think, how often do these big fights actually fucking happen? If he beats him, and knocks him out, that'll be in the top 5 wins of the year.
What about if McDonald beats Quigg? His hands don't know about that one.
Oh,
McDonald beating Quigg's great. If he's moving up, that's a great win. Really good win.
That'd be a great fight. That went to it'd be like the try to tell us that it's 2 world champions, and basically it would take as many people in that fucking stadium as it is in a Frank Warren fight, wouldn't it? There'd be no cunt there. Just two fucking boring bastards.
Just stick Anthony Joshua on it, mate. It was
AJ would be headlining in a
Anthony Collar as well.
In a 3-rounder with a world title fight on the undercard. Amazing. So the first one was about Khan. Second question is, can you make a case for a Heyman fighter being in the top 10? And imagine that, for the sake of argument, Floyd's retired. We're saying Floyd's
Me and Brian have got Garcia in.
Well, yeah, some of these spastics have got Garcia and Stevenson in. So.
Yeah, but can you make a sane case for that though?
Well, so do we just because you put Andre Ward in, don't you?
Yeah.
Because he used to be good, but yet you seem to forget about what the PBC guys have done 2-3 years ago. For them, they haven't done anything because they went to Heyman.
Well,
it's fucking ridiculous.
It's partly because Garcia's looked bad since Ward hasn't looked bad.
He still won. Well, how could Ward look bad when he's fucking commentating?
But okay, Cal, if Ward had struggled with Paul Smith, then I wouldn't have him on my list. But he didn't struggle. But
that's impossible.
A lot of people thought Paul Smith beat Abraham both times, right? Okay. Or Cal, if Ward had struggled with Rodriguez, who was undefeated, people forget that.
But do you get my point?
You basically just dominated both of them. Danny Garcia is not dominating anyone at the moment, apart from Rod Salka, for fuck's sake. He didn't even dominate Paulie. Paulie was landing a little bit at the beginning, and Paulie is shot to shit, and he was never very good. He's absolutely shot, and he just won a couple of rounds.
I know.
I don't believe you've watched that fight then, because Paulie done absolutely fucking nothing for the full fight.
Paulie won a couple of rounds off his jab. You think Bradley schooled Marquez? You're mental. That was like one of the closest fights I've ever seen. Absolutely mental.
You're laying it on a bit thick there, Shep.
Honestly, it was a incredibly close fight.
You jack shitty ship.
I'm gonna read the scorecards out in a bit. But anyway, has anyone else got any other
Keith Thurman
points of contention? Yeah, how could Thurman get on? If Thurman knocks Porter out, maybe that fight's gonna happen. I don't know.
Well, see if that fight happens at the end of the year, it definitely means that he's fucking setting Thurman up to get some big fights next year then. Because that's probably, stylistically, maybe the hardest fight that he could probably take at welterweight.
Porter won. They're just sticking Porter in with everyone, aren't they? Crazy.
Would you say Usyk's got a chance?
Well, I was going to ask that.
I was going to mention Usyk as well. Yeah, I was going to mention.
Because I don't watch them small heavyweights very often, to be honest, because it's always on Russian TV and that. But
Alex,
I watch his fights on YouTube.
I think he's got a shout. I think he's definitely got a shout.
He's got to clean up.
Who's the cruiserweights all with? Because I know he's going to be mandatory for that Gloaki, but who's like Lebedev in that way? Are they all self-promoted?
I'm not sure on the promotional issues with half of them, to be honest. Again, because it's all either Russians or fucking Sauerlands and things like that usually. But
Usyk's with K2, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he is.
So will K2 work with him?
Like I said, I don't really know the promotional side behind it, really. I mean, I know that they've really not had any unifications in a long while, and maybe that is simply because they won't work together. But
yeah, I don't know much about the cruiserweights, but I'm just looking at their names and they sound scary bastards. Droid, Lebedev, Gloaki, fucking Usyk, could their ass off. Oh, fuck's sake.
Oh,
I mean,
they could take over a small
someone-
Ukrainian town if Putin wanted them to.
If someone could go on a tear through that division, they could really make some noise in the sport, couldn't they?
yeah, I mean,
There's some really good wins there if you can go through.
he would have to clean up, I think, to get anywhere near pound for pound, and then or maybe get like a big win at heavyweight.
But that's the
Yeah,
thing.
are any of them big enough for heavyweight?
But that's it. I've
Usyk
read that
is.
he's like fucking 6'4".
Yeah, he's massive. Usyk will go up to heavyweight eventually, and I reckon he'll give them a lot of trouble up there.
Like, just say for saying sake he goes to heavyweight, all he's having to do is put on 15, 20 pun, and he's the same fucking weight as
Nice and easy.
Wilder. And it's not as if it would be a Bellew 15, 20 pun where you just, I'm going to McDonald's and just get a big fucking buffet meal and just put the weight on. He would actually put it on properly and it would look like a heavyweight.
He doesn't have kids who make him fat like Bellew does.
That was my excuse.
My kids.
Right.
Force fed.
Chaps, I've got to go.
All right.
Bye, ladies.
Can I just say before you leave, mate?
Bye,
Bradley
ladies. Twitter handle.
Bradley Marquez was a split decision. Bradley Marquez was a split decision. 115, 113 Bradley. 115, 113 Marquez.
Fuck's sake.
Yeah, chill
What are you on
out.
about? Floyd v Canelo was
Close
another
fight.
majority win.
Who clearly didn't pay attention. On that note, I want to say thanks to everyone for joining me. Thanks to everyone who tuned in live. We will be back next week to laugh at how one-sided Golovkin-Lemieux was and how badly it sold on pay-per-view when I'm proven right. Anyone going to dispute that?
No. Any bitches wanting the Bobby, just fucking blaze me up on Twitter.
Any ladies, blaze Brian up, please. He's getting quite desperate now.
I thought I'd go to
At
Turkey
Jimmy
so I
Savile.
don't go over there like a pure rapist.
Right, yeah, that's us off going off air now.